Alrighty, committee members, welcome to our first meeting of Senate Travel, Recreation, Wildlife, and Cultural Resource Committee. I just want to make sure, Elissa, do we have a person that's going to take roll for us?
Yes, I'll take roll.
Let's call the roll now.
Senator Guru.
Here.
Senator Landon.
Here.
Senator Salazar.
Here.
Senator Schuler.
Here.
Chairman Ellis.
Present. Alrighty, we have 5 members, and this morning we're going to take up House Bill 66, the 2021 Large Project Funding Bill. And I know that this has been referred to us from one of our select committees. And let me see who we've got in the waiting room that might want to kind of walk us through some of the elements of this bill. We've got a list of folks that are participating with us today, and I'm admitting them right now into our meeting. So just be patient. And committee members, I know you're getting familiar with the drill. If you would like to speak or have questions, just either raise your hand onto the camera or hit the raise hand feature, and we'll see your electronic hand pop up, and I'll call on you. And with that, I see we've got some people being admitted. So for the people that will be participating in our meeting that aren't on the committee, again, if you think if I'm missing you, just make sure I can see you and get my attention, and we'll call on you. So with that, I do see Director Budd, and he might be a good person to start with and just kind of catch us up of what happened during the interim.
Madam Chairman, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. Good morning. And actually, Madam Chairman, Senator Guru is on that select committee. I would defer to him and then answer any questions if you have them. If that's okay.
That works. I apologize. Senator Guru, good morning.
Well, good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Yes, I am on the Natural Resources Funding Committee, and it's my pleasure to just do a quick run through it so we can get to questions on House Bill 66. This bill was worked on during the interim by the committee. It came through the other side of the hall, or the other side of the building. Came through House TRW with a 9-zip vote, and it was referred to House Appropriations, where it passed unanimously as well. And then it passed the House, and now it appears here. It basically funds 3 main projects, but 3 very important projects. And as you walk through the bill, you can see these listed. Let me see if I can pull that up. But the 3 are the Dry Piney Deer Crossings project. And I just want to bring up one page number so I can get there for you. That's on page 2, line 15. It talks about that. And then if you drift down, the next is the KC Buffalo Crossings, Mule Deer Crossings project. And the third is the Sheridan Invasive Grasses 2 project. And to be perfectly honest, I know a lot of us have been talking about this week-long session that we've just had and kind of debated the merits of the importance of doing these bills right now. Well, to be perfectly honest, this is one of the bills. This and some of the water project bills, in my view, are the most important bills that we're doing this week. Because by doing these and getting these through the pipe, we can get them on the ground and running as soon as possible in the spring. And that is most important with this last project, the Sheridan Invasive Grasses project. It's been worked on now for a couple of years. And, if we backtrack, if we don't get this project taken care of, all the work that we've done up to this point, frankly, we lose. And it'll end up costing more money. Speaking of money, if you're looking at this bill, you'll notice that there was an amendment in the House, and that was merely cleanup language and some mathematical shortcomings of probably me or someone on the committees we worked it through. All the funds that this project is funded by are internal to the fund itself. And so there's no general fund dollars are used for any of these projects. I think that was something that didn't come across as well to the body as a whole in the House. The money that's raised for these projects is specifically for these projects. In addition, the money that's raised is leveraged with philanthropy dollars and other funds that come in at a rate of almost 12.4 to 1. So it's a good bargain. It's money that can be used for this project and is specifically designed for its use. And these 3 projects have been vetted and studied by the committee. I think that there is little doubt of the work that's coming in, the data that we're getting of what these animal crossings mean to the state as far as, helping the species in total, but also helping with what I call vehicle animal interface. And those of us that drive to a lot of meetings know exactly what that is. And something that we like to avoid. Helps with insurance rates, helps with safety on our highways, and like I say, is good for the animal population. So with that, Mr. Budd is here with us, who knows forgotten more about this than I'll ever know. And he can answer your detailed questions, and I can answer any softballs you care to throw up. Madam Chair, that's my report.
Thank you, Senator Guru. Great explanation. Committee members, do you have any questions for Senator Guru? Okay, and seeing none, Director Budd, we welcome to the committee, and we look forward to hearing your testimony.
Madam Chairman, thank you, and I'll make this very brief. I think Senator Guru did a tremendous job of explaining what's in the bill and the origin of the funds. Might add one thing, that this is an example of where the legislature has directed the trust to do something. We were in the last session, there was money allocated for crossings and migration, and the board took that to heart and has applied that to the top 2 priorities for the game and fish in Wyoming. The other came out of 2018 when we were directed to address the issues in northern Wyoming with Medusa Head and Ventonata, the invasive grasses. If you'll recall, that was a primary recommendation of the Governor's Invasive Species Initiative this past year. And so this is addressing that issue, and hopefully we can attack that before it ends up in all 23 counties. With that, Madam Chairman, I would certainly stand for any questions that you have, but I think the bill is fairly self-explanatory, and we'll just keep it brief.
Alrighty, thank you, Director Budd. Senator Landon.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Director Budd, it's great to hear your smiling voice this morning. I just had a question on the Dry Piney project, and just from an overall viewpoint, I noticed that we're going with an underpass there. Knowing how successful that overpass was at the Cora Junction, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about that project. I know down toward LaBarge, we have done a couple of underpasses before. What dictates which way you go?
Madam Chair, Senator Landon, not to take on the role of the Game and Fish Department. They're the ones who ultimately make these recommendations, but I think I can assure you that this is a deer project, and deer are not inhibited by a tunnel or underpass as much as antelope are. So if you look, I think you're talking about the 2 over near Pinedale. Those are primarily for antelope, which just really don't like to go under the highway. Deer, as you know, Nugget Canyon over by Kemmer, and then we've done 2 of these down at Baggs. They're not impeded by that, provided that they're designed and built correctly. One of the things we learned that's interesting is if they can't see through to the other side, they won't use them. So we had one in Baggs that had to be retrofitted so that they could see clear through and see blue sky, and then they go right through, and it's not an issue. But if I'm incorrect, I think there are representatives from the Game and Fish in the waiting room. They could correct me, but that's the basic reason. The other one, quite honestly, Senator Landon, is cost. It is exorbitant to put overpasses in. This will be a series of underpasses, as is the KC to Buffalo, but they're very effective for the species that is being targeted.
Any
Thank you.
follow-up questions, Senator Landon?
Thank you for that, Madam Chair. I just need to throw out a little anecdotal, piece of pride for me. Over in that part of the world, way back when, my son was a student engineer over at the University of Wyoming and worked on the very first underpass. And so when Director Budd talks about the blue sky and everything, that's exactly right. And I can remember him, my son, talking about that when they were designing that project. And we've come a long way. We've got a long ways to go. But anyway, thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Schuler.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I had a question on the invasive grasses. And it's just probably more my ignorance more than anything else. I wondered, is the Medusa head and the ventonata, is that stuff similar? I understand that they're noxious weeds. Is it similar to cheatgrass? I have no idea what they do. I mean, I understand that they definitely affect rangeland and so on, but could you explain a little bit more about what those are? Thank you.
Director Budd.
Madam Chairman, Senator Schuler, thank you. That's a very good question. They are similar to cheatgrass and downy brome and those in the sense that they're an annual grass, which means that they're incredibly capable of proliferating through seed production, like thousands and thousands of seeds per plant. They've been described, however, by the people who have been dealing with them, that if they knew this existed, they wouldn't have complained about cheatgrass. They are that much more invasive, that much more restrictive to native plants and other things. So they're cheatgrass on steroids, if you will, Senator. They're bad stuff, bad mojo. And so we've got them right now in just that northern part of the state. We've also been blessed, if you will, with the approval of a new chemical, which appears to have much better effectiveness on these annual grasses. And that's part of why the delay in some of these is that the board, my board, deferred a bunch of them and said, look, we know that's on the horizon. We think it will get approved. That happened last July. And so they held off on those until we had that chemical approved. It's considerably more expensive per acre, to the tune of 5 to 8 times more, but the lasting power is 5 to 10 years. Whereas with what we were using on cheatgrass plateau primarily, it may be 1, 2, 3. And so we're optimistic that we've got something that we can control these 2 species with, and it will work on cheatgrass as well.
Follow-up question, Senator Schuler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, that was one of the questions that I was going to ask was basically 50,000 acres seemed like an awful lot. And it sounds like it's definitely really bad stuff. So I think that's great that we're getting on top of it. The other question I was going to ask is, do our drought conditions or the climate conditions that we have in certain parts of our state have anything to do with the proliferation, I can't talk this morning, of that particular weed or those particular weeds? Thank you.
Director Budd.
Madam Chairman, Senator Schuler, weather is always a factor in any kind of plant ecology. Drought, the issue with drought is that your annual grasses obviously are going to take advantage of any moisture that comes at any point in time. They green up earlier, they mature earlier, as you see when the hills turn purple around that, early, before even the native grasses are even in the boot, as they say. The wet years, though, are also beneficial at times to the invasives because they're the first to come out. So they're tough. They're really tough in the sense that they can capitalize on drought. They can capitalize on wet years. The key to keeping them out is to maintain our native plant communities, the native grasses that we have, and knock them down like we're doing now so that those species get an advantage. Most weeds, or nearly all weeds, are looking for one thing for a living, and that's bare ground. And so as long as we can keep good cover and we have tremendous resource managers in Wyoming, as long as we can do that, we can minimize those risks.
Any other questions for Director Budd? Senator Landon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick comment. Having had the great opportunity to serve a couple of years with Director Budd, the only thing that kind of tugs at the heart is that we only have these 3 projects, and in years gone by, we were able to do quite a bit more. And it just, you get to thinking about all the things that we wish we could do out across the state. These are really terrific projects, and you just wish that we could double the amount. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Director Budd, does anyone have any other questions for Director Budd? I have one, just for the background of the committee. How did these, or do we know how these invasive species got a hold in this area of Sheridan?
Madam Chair, I don't know that we know the exact vector. A lot of them come in over the years. Cheatgrass, it's pretty well, I think pretty well documented that came in with the railroads. If you look at salt cedar, very good chance some of that came in different drainages with equipment that was returned from Asia to build, for instance, Boyson Dam. These appear to have come south out of Montana, probably windborne. They are invasive annuals. That's how they primarily transmit seed. And I don't know if you've ever seen the videos of some of these when they set seed on a windy day. It just blows. It looks like a volcano erupting. But it was probably a somewhat natural migration. I don't know that it could have come in with a load of hay, but I don't think we know. All we know is we've got them. And Madam Chairman, could I address Senator Landon's point as well?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Senator Landon, we actually had an uptick this year in the number of projects that we funded. The board, however, given limited resources, a lot of those that might have asked, and I'll give you one that you'll be familiar with, is South Park. We did some wetland work up in Teton County, Chairman Ellis, and in your home stomping grounds, and Senator Garu's. That they had initially asked would have been a large project, but to allocate money and get things done, the board trimmed it back. So it didn't meet the threshold of a large project, but we actually did a good number of projects this year, and really good projects. So I thought I had sent you an annual report that included that, but I will forward to the entire committee a copy of what we did this year and the PowerPoint that we used to show those projects.
Thank you, Director Budd. I think we'd like to see that again. And along those lines, I'd watch a video about airborne invasive weeds coming into Wyoming. So if you have a link to that or a way that we can watch that, let us know. Senator Landon, I think, had his hand up.
Well, Madam Chair, I was just going to share the same thoughts that you just did. It's great to be on this committee. I've looked forward to it for a long time, and I just really appreciate the work that Director Budd and his crew do, and look forward to getting up to speed as best I can on all this. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Landon. Senator Schuler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had one other question. It was on the funding, and I think Senator Grew did a pretty good job, but I had just a question when I was looking at the fiscal note, and so maybe the director could answer this as well, but it mentions grants as well, and Senator Grew mentioned private donations as well. I kind of wanted to know a little bit more about that, if you could clarify that. Thank you.
Director Budd?
Madam Chairman, Senator Schuler, thank you for that. This is a fairly unique circumstance. We've had several groups of in Wyoming NGOs, the Greater Yellowstone Coalition, the Wildlife Fund, Muley Fanatics, who have put in hundreds of thousands of dollars into Dry Piney and KC to Buffalo. The directive that we were given from the legislature was that there would be money to match any of those private funds that came in. And so that's why you see the numbers you do in the bill. Half of that is money that's coming from another source, and half of that is coming from the Wildlife and Natural Resource Trust. It is probably one of the biggest leverage programs that we've had in our history. We had one close to this with Shell Oil over in the western part of the state several years ago, but these NGOs have really stepped up. I think that we should be proud to be in Wyoming where people put their money where their mouth is and really step up. This will be an ongoing effort as well. And I think that's something we can look forward to. Certainly, Senator Salazar, we know about the issues you have at DuBois with deer on the highway. That's a priority. We funded some projects up there this year to work on that up on the East Fork. But it really is gratifying to see how much effort these NGOs have put in and how they've stepped up to the plate. And that's why the numbers are what they are.
Senator Guru.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. And Senator Schuler, it wouldn't happen if Director Budd didn't tell a very, let's just say, compelling story when he gets in front of those groups. And now he lets them, he helps them realize the good that they can do, and is quite good at it, actually. And his whole board as well.
Any other questions for Director Budd? Alrighty, well, if you don't mind just hanging out with us, Director Budd, for a little bit. How about do we have someone from Game and Fish that would like to testify? And I apologize, it's new chair. I'm learning who folks are, so just be patient. I think we have Jesse Johnson.
Madam Chair, I'm with the Wyoming Wildlife Federation, and if there's no Game and Fish, I'm happy to chat, but I'll stand aside and wait for them if they have something to say first.
Looking on my mic and looking on my screen, I don't see anyone at this particular moment raising their hand. Senator Landon?
Madam Chair, I do see that Mr. Babbitt is here. And, I don't know if he's here to talk on behalf of the Department of Transportation, but just a heads up on that.
Thank you. Mr. Babbitt, are you?
Madam Chairman, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. I am not commenting on this one. I'm standing by on House Bill 15 with Director Reiner.
Okay. Ms. Johnson, we'll go ahead and hear from you then.
All right, Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Jesse Johnson. I'm with the Wyoming Wildlife Federation, and I won't belabor the point on how amazing the wildlife crossings are and how sort of time sensitive the invasive grasses project is. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that we stood in staunch support of it. I think both of these projects, or all three of these projects, are proactive in that while it might take a little bit of money up front, it will save the citizens of Wyoming money in the long run. You look at wildlife crossings, and the average wildlife collision costs $11,600 per collision. It's with over 6,000 reported crashes every year. I mean, it adds up. So the faster that we start spending money to actually, get these wildlife across the road and get people and public to their safe destinations, sort of the better off it seems this state will be. Obviously, we're very interested in the wildlife side of it, but we can't forget the public health and safety side as well. And with the invasive grasses, again, this is a continuation, and I think it was Senator Guru or maybe Director Budd that mentioned that, if we don't do this now, we lose all the work we've done prior. So again, this is the most proactive, probably, might I say, fiscally responsible way to take care of these projects, let alone with the fact that the longer we wait with the engineering around underpasses and overpasses, usually the larger the price tag gets, just because time, that the money ends up more. So the faster we do this seems like the least expensive way and the most efficient way to get through this, where everyone's happy and we still have our iconic wildlife and safe roadways. So thank you. I'll stand by for any questions or anything like that.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Any questions from committee members? Senator Schuler?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Yeah, just a question on, I think these projects are great and I'm glad they're moving forward. I just wondered if you had targeted any other projects or areas that you think might be forthcoming in the future for some more of these crossings. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Schuler. Ms. Johnson?
Madam Chair, Senator Schuler, there is a full working group actually that is put into figuring out where each of these crossings are. And Wyoming Wildlife Federation has a representative that sits on it. It's called the RIT, the Wyoming Wildlife Roadways Implementation Initiative Team, or Initiative Implementation Team, one of those lovely acronyms. And WYDOT and Wyoming Game and Fish and a couple NGOs have all put a lot of work into figuring out where these priorities are. I would be happy to send the committee a link that will have all of these projects, and it's a story map actually to show where all of these are. There has been, let's see, I think Dry Piney was #1. Casey to Buffalo has been #2. I know that I-80, there's a place on I-80 near Dana Junction, which is that Halleck Ridge area that has been looked at. Du Bois is definitely on one. Senator Salazar, I'm a Lander person. I know that stretch well, as well as some places around Lander itself. There's 42 in the whole state, but they have taken a lot of time in narrowing it down to the ones that we can do now in a cost-effective way that'll have the highest benefit and the highest yield. And so it's one of these things where we have the snowball that we're just picking away at. We're just, every time we do a little bit of funding, it's helping. And so, yeah, I'm happy to send out all of these priority areas. The Game and Fish, WYDOT has done an exceptional job in working with everything to put these together. And like I said, WWF, Greater Yellowstone Coalition, Muley Fanatic Foundation, the Nature Conservancy, a lot of these groups have all put a lot of effort into making sure that we're being smart with where we put all of these. We don't want to be wasting time or money in this state, especially now.
Thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Johnson? Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you.
See, we have 2 more people in our room. We have Keith Fulton and Mr. Garrett. Would either of you like to testify or offer comments?
Madam
Mr.
Chairman, Keith Fulton. I'm from WYDOT. I'm the Assistant Chief Engineer, and I'm just here to answer questions. Director Budd did a great job of explaining the projects. Dry Piney is 8 underpasses along with fencing and signing. And so we're fully supportive of these projects and look forward to construction.
Any questions for WYDOT? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Fulton. And then the last person I have is Mr. Garrett. Did you want to offer some testimony, Mr. Garrett?
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and members of the committee. My name is Richard Garrett. I live in Lander, Wyoming, and I think all of you are familiar with the passion that I brought to this subject in years past when I had the privilege of representing one of those NGOs that's been referenced, the Nature Conservancy. Now, as a private citizen, my passion is no less. This, as described, is a win-win. I think it's a triple win, actually. Not only do animals benefit, drivers benefit, but we're also creating jobs with these large projects, and we ensure Wyoming is a better place for generations to come. So I really appreciate your support. I appreciate all the work that WYDOT and the Game and Fish and the Wildlife Natural Resource Trust Board has put into projects like these. I appreciate too Senator Barrasso's recognition of how important this subject is by including funding in transportation bills that he sponsored in years past. And with that, I'm happy to stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Garrett. Ms. Johnson, I think I see your hand up. Did you have another comment you'd like to make?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I just left the hand raise up. I apologize.
No worries. Alrighty, just to confirm with our staff, I don't see anyone else on the participant list. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Alrighty, committee, you've heard the testimony. Public testimony is closed on this bill. Senator Guru.
Move the bill, Madam Chair.
Bill's been moved by Senator Guru, seconded by Senator Landon. Discussion by committee. Senator Landon.
Madam Chair, just a quick comment. Really appreciated Mr. Garrett stopping by this morning and staying involved on this front. I hope it's not the only time we'll see him, even though we don't really see him on this virtual format. But all the work that he's done in years gone by. I just want to tip my hat to Mr. Garrett and thank him.
Thank you, Senator Landon. Seeing no further discussion, let's do a roll call vote on this bill.
This is a roll call vote, Madam Chair, on House Bill 66, 2021, large project funding. Senator Guru,
Aye.
Senator Landon,
Aye.
Senator Salazar,
Aye.
Senator Schuler,
Aye.
Chairman Ellis.
Aye. So that passes unanimously. And then committee members, who would like to manage this on the floor? Senator Guru, would you want to present this bill?
Madam Chair, if we're going to, I will, in answer to your question, yes, I'd be more than happy to. But we're going to re-refer this today to committee number 2, appropriations, correct? I believe that's the course.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're right, Senator. I know it was re-referred on the House side to their House appropriations. So
I think it will be. Another reason why I say that, I, for reasons passing understanding, I'm doing the committee of the whole today. And so if we refer it, I'd be glad to do it because we won't do it today. And then I will be able to do it when I'm not chairing committee of the whole. So yes.
sounds good, Senator. And if something changes and it's not re-referred, I know Senator Schuler might be willing to take this on as well if you're in the chair, or we'll figure something out. But Senator Landon, did you have a comment? All righty, committee, thanks for your time this morning.
Madam Chair, whoops, I lost it.
Do we have another bill or are we done?
No, Senator Guru, it was just the one bill that was being considered.
Okie dokie.
So we're done?
We're done. Thanks, guys.
Okay, see ya.
Yes, we're adjourned.